On the recent UFC 260 main card, the rising bantamweight prospect Sean O'Malley managed to further his status as one of the hottest up-and-comers in the game with a dominant third-round TKO victory over Thomas Almeida. And of course, that was the expected result, and to his credit, Almeida did a lot better than many of us had predicted, in terms of his ability to absorb shots from O'Malley. But all in all, it was the Suga show from start to finish, and for this video, I suppose my aim will be to dive into the performance turned in by O'Malley, and how it has affected our views on his chances of making a real mark on this stacked 135-pound division. So let's get into it. Okay, so obviously O'Malley looked great in there. He did a lot of things that only served to further confirm what a lot of us have suspected about his skill set for some time now. His striking looked as fluid as ever, with his obvious strengths lying in his feints, distance control, and footwork, as well as the overall diversity of his attack. Indeed, he did dodge a bullet to a certain extent after failing to finish Almeida early on in the fight, instead attempting to pull off another walk-off KO. But all in all, I was kinda happy that we were able to see more of O'Malley due to that one moment of silliness. And when the finish did finally come, it was completely and utterly brutal. In the future, the opportunity to have fun with his performances probably won't be as available. And with him still on this slow and drawn-out rise, who can blame the guy really? Because it has been apparent to me for some time now that O'Malley is in this game simply to have fun. Of course, his personality and the fact that he is a popular prospect has caused many fans to count him out or just generally dislike him. But for me, what we've seen from O'Malley so far has largely been pretty outstanding. With that said, winning in a fight like this, against an opponent like Almeida, is just never going to be enough to make believers of his doubters, and it's understandable. If you're enjoying this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel now to keep the MMA dive train moving ahead. As I said before, this has been a slow build from the UFC. Now, of course, I know that injuries have been a major reason behind this, and I also know that Dana and his team have no doubt learned from the mistakes that cost them a pretty interesting future star in Sage Norcutt. But given O'Malley's lack of ranked tests, the Marlon Vera fight aside, it's still pretty difficult to gauge where his ceiling is at, because at this point in time, the man is still very much building towards his eventual climb into that top 15, and it's not easy to look as good as O'Malley has, even when facing low to mid-tier opposition. And when it comes to an artistically inclined fighter like him, like Zabit Magomedsharipov, like Yair Rodriguez, and even like John Jones to some extent, it's all well and good pulling off that level of expression inside the octagon, but to do it against high-level, dynamic, experienced opponents, ones who can threaten in multiple areas of the mixed martial arts skill set, that is a different task entirely. That's why we saw Yair Rodriguez's progress halted so suddenly by Frankie Edgar at UFC 211, and that's why a lot of people aren't so quick to get behind O'Malley without proof first of his merits as an elite talent. I personally do love watching him fight, and I do believe that he is a special talent, but until we see him take on the elite wrestler, the gritty clinch fighter, the highly durable pressure fighter, it's hard to really estimate the impact he may one day have on this bantamweight division. Thomas Almeida, like Eddie Wineland, like Jose Alberto Quinones, and each of his other opponents before him, was the perfect dance partner that would allow O'Malley to go to work, to score another viral knockout, furthering his status as a potential crossover star in the future. And it makes sense. He's got the look, he's already a successful podcast host, a known marijuana advocate, which of course never hurts, and his social media following across all platforms seemed to suggest that people are interested in him. But now, with his UFC record at 5-1 after over 3 years in the company, injuries or not, I would like to see O'Malley take on a stylistic matchup that doesn't immediately favour him. Look, he's got the diversity in his arsenal and the speed in his attacks to make it a very ugly night for most 135-pound strikers. But with this latest dominant effort now out of the way, I need to see that first real test. I liked the Marlon Vera fight when it was booked, and obviously it ended under unfortunate circumstances, partly due to Vera's excellent work, but let's be real, it was a bit freakish. What I need from the UFC right now is to take a chance on Sean O'Malley. He's 26 years old, and for the most part, has looked dominant in there, showcasing a skill set that could well prove to be the foil for many elite 135-pound fighters if he can pass his transitional test, and he needs to pass that test next in my opinion. Now, I've seen some minor buzz surrounding the potential for a showdown against Dominic Cruz, with the former champ having stated that he wouldn't be opposed to the idea of facing O'Malley. I don't personally like this fight too much, given that Cruz already bested one emerging prospect in Casey Kenny in his last fight, and deserves to move into that top 5 picture given all that he has accomplished. Cruz is not a gatekeeper, and I think it would be disrespectful to feed him another prospect considering how odd the Kenny fight read on paper when it was booked. But I think that Sean O'Malley needs someone in the vein of a Cody Stamann, a Rafael Assunção, perhaps even a Jimmy Rivera, a ranked fighter who has the experience and the overall dynamism necessary to put his progress to the test. We've all been well acquainted acclimatized to what the Suga show brings to the UFC, and now, after what has been a very successful build all things considered, I really do think that the time has come to make that next step. It's do or die for Sean O'Malley. Okay, maybe that's a bit dramatic, but after this latest performance, I just want to see what he's truly made of. And I'm a fan, don't get me wrong. I really feel like this guy has something, but I'm just not ready to fully accept it just yet. Your move, UFC. But what did you make of O'Malley's latest Octagon outing? And how far do you think he'll be able to go within this stacked bantamweight division, all things considered? Do let us know in the comments section below, we always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment before subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. Thank you for watching.